The suitcase hit the floor before I even registered dropping it. My daughter was face down on the hallway tile, one shoe off. Her hand curled under her chest like she'd fallen mid-stride and never gotten back up. Ivy. Nothing. Ivy, open your eyes. Behind me, ice clinked against glass. My wife stood in the kitchen doorway, watching us with an expression too calm for what was happening on that floor. She's fine, she said. She's being dramatic. An 8-year-old doesn't lose consciousness because she's dramatic. I called 911 with my hand shaking for the first time in years. My name is Daniel Reyes. I'm 42. I run a logistics consulting firm out of Charlotte, and for 19 years I've built a career on reading rooms, knowing when a number doesn't add up, when a person is hiding something across a table. That night, kneeling on my own hallway floor, I understood I'd missed the most important read of my life. I wasn't supposed to be home. My flight got in early. I wanted to surprise her. Instead, I found her like this. Claire and I married 3 years after Ivy's mother passed. She came into our lives soft-spoken, patient, endlessly complimented by everyone who met her. Teachers, neighbors, my own mother, who told me more than once that Ivy was lucky to have her. I traveled for work, sometimes 10 days a month. Claire never complained. She sent photos of school projects, bedtime routines, packed lunches arranged like something out of a magazine. I believed, completely, that my daughter was safe every time I boarded a plane. I built my trust in small increments over 4 years. A school play I missed but Claire recorded in full. A fever she handled alone at 2 a.m., without waking me overseas. 100 quiet competencies that added up to one conclusion. I don't have to worry when I'm gone. That conclusion cost me more than I knew. 3 days after that hallway, sitting in a hospital corridor while a nurse asked for insurance details, I opened Ivy's claims history out of habit, the same instinct that makes me double-check a vendor invoice. There it was, a visit from 6 months earlier, an emergency room I'd never heard of. I hadn't been told, I hadn't signed anything, I'd been in Denver. Underneath it, more claims. Different clinics, different dates. Every single one lined up, when I checked my travel calendar, with a trip I had taken. I didn't say anything to anyone that night. I just kept scrolling. I kept my face still in that corridor, but inside, something had already rearranged itself permanently. I didn't confront Claire, not that night, not the next morning. I've negotiated enough acquisitions to know that the moment you show your hand, the other side stops talking and starts managing you. So I said almost nothing. I told her I was tired. I told her the hospital situation would sort itself out. Believing she was safe, Claire made one mistake. 3 days later, thinking I was still absorbing the shock quietly, she mentioned, almost bored, that Ivy had done this before once. One sentence. A confirmation she never meant to give. I wrote it down. I called Marisol Chen, a family attorney a colleague had used during her own divorce. I laid out the claims, the dates, the travel calendar, the one careless sentence. Don't confront her, Marisol said. Don't warn her. Get the medical records first. Get your travel records certified through HR. Let the paper do the talking. Over the next week, I did exactly that. My assistant pulled every flight and hotel record for 2 years. I requested Ivy's full pharmacy history. A pattern emerged that no coincidence could explain. Episodes clustered almost exclusively around my absences. Claire noticed nothing. She still believed there was one hospital visit to explain away. Marisol filed for an emergency protective order based on the medical pattern and a caseworker's independent findings, without notifying Claire in advance. Standard procedure for cases involving a child's safety. While that moved through the court, I changed the locks, updated the school's pickup authorization, and removed Claire's name from every account tied to Ivy's care. Nothing dramatic, no accusations, just doors quietly closing, one at a time. Claire texted twice that afternoon, breezy, unaware. Home by 2, let's talk like adults. I didn't answer. The judge signed the emergency order the next morning after reviewing the medical timeline and the caseworker's report. No contact, direct or indirect, no return to the house. Claire was served at lunch, at her regular Thursday table, in front of 4 friends who'd spent years hearing how devoted she was. Marisol told me later that Claire's first instinct was to ask the officers if they knew who her husband was. Nobody at that table said a word in her defense. She had spent years building an image. It took 4 minutes to take it apart. The formal hearing came 6 weeks later. I sat across from Claire and her attorney in a conference room, not a courtroom, calmer, controlled, exactly how Marisol wanted it. We laid out the timeline, the unexplained emergency visit, the recurring pattern tied to my travel, the caseworker's findings, Ivy's own account to her treating physician. Claire's attorney tried the obvious angle, that I was an absent father projecting guilt onto his wife. He was gone 19 days a month, she said. Convenient timing to notice this now. I didn't raise my voice. I have every boarding pass to prove where I was. What I don't have is an explanation for where she was. Claire said nothing else that mattered. The civil case ended in a full custody restriction. No supervised or unsupervised contact pending the outcome of a separate child welfare investigation. The divorce settlement stripped her of any claim to the home. 2 of the friends from that Thursday table never spoke to her again. One told Marisol, unprompted, that she'd always felt something was off and never said anything. Claire's name came off every document that mattered within a month. She moved out of state by the fall. I didn't do any of it out of anger, in the end. Marisol did the talking. The records did the proving. I just stopped protecting the version of my family that had never actually existed. Ivy is 10 now. She still checks that her bedroom door isn't locked from the outside sometimes, though less than she used to. She sees a therapist every other week, and last spring she told me, completely unprompted, that our house smells like when you open a window. I travel less, not because she needs a bodyguard, because I finally understand that providing a home isn't the same as knowing what happens inside it when you're not there. Claire, as far as I know, lives quietly 2 states away. I don't check. If there's one thing I'd want anyone listening to take from this, it's simple. Trust is not the same as certainty. The people closest to your family can look the most reliable and still be the ones you need to watch the closest. Pay attention to the pattern, not the performance. What would you have done in my position? Confronted her immediately, or built the case first? Tell me in the comments. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real accounts of families finding their way back to safety. This story is a work of fiction, inspired by patterns discussed in child protection casework. Names, locations, and details have been altered or invented for narrative purposes.